What's up, y'all? I'm Lauren Wilson. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, welcome back to my channel if it isn't. And today we're going to talk about a boy band. There's so many boy bands out there, so many male groups, R&B, pop, what have you. You got Drew Hill, you got Boys to Men, you got 112. But today we're going to talk about Jagged Edge. Jagged Edge is an American boy band, of course. Jermaine Dupri discovered them. There's a long history about these guys. There's twins, Brandon and Brian, and then you have Kyle and Wingo. I hope I'm getting their names right, but we're going to go through the album and go through all of that. Today we're going to talk about their album, Heartbreak. Calling all Jagged Edge fans, think about what your favorite Jagged Edge album is, because today we're going to talk about them. Let's get into it. Hey. That's how you know they about to get it cracking on the album, right? And then it comes in, oh. But I'm talking that JD, that classic JD production, y'all. Brian and Brandon's ad-libs, y'all. Give it up for Brian and Brandon's ad-libs. Them damn twins. Ooh. Ooh. Oh no. Ooh. Pain. Ooh. 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 What made them think of that? What made who vocal produced that? Brian, Brandon, Kyle, Wingo. He can't love you like I love you, baby. You know it too. You should never wanna be with a man if he can be a man and do the things to you like I can. Like I love you, baby. You know it too. You should never wanna be with a man if he can't be a man like I know he can't love you. I know he can't love you. Oh, whoa, whoa. You gotta run like that. And the way this start. What? When you hear that, I don't know what that is. Please, the producer, I know Jermaine Dupri and Brian Cox. What sound is that? Is that a synth? What program is that? We used to just imitate that sound just because the remix is fire too. Y'all know that remix that you play at every reception? Don't ever doubt you'll be a someone. Always go for what you want. Get up and put your purpose on. Get up, feel the sunshine on your face. Believe that you deserve it all. Put in the work and you will end up far. This is my show and tell. So tell me, are you ready to get it on? So tell me, yeah. So tell me, are you ready? So tell me, are you ready for me? So tell me, are you ready? Tell me, are you ready? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Lauren Wilson, and today we're going to talk about Jagged Edge's album, Heartbreak. First of all, the title alone is picked off of New Edition. I feel like most groups that are R&B, that are American, especially if they're a band that's black or of color, at least, they're influenced or inspired by New Edition. We have to acknowledge that by the names, by the setup, by what they look like. Now, Jagged Edge has a different sound and a different package, but it's still those foundations, those bases. Even Boys to Men was discovered by one of the Jagged Edge members. I can't think of his name at the top of my head, but I know he also was in Belle Biv DeVoe. So yes, but yeah, Heartbreak. You have what new editions in any Heartbreak, you know, a new edition of Heartbreak. They have a whole song and a whole album entitled that. You can check that out. It's classic. It's iconic. But Jagged Edge, the first time we heard from Jagged Edge was from their first album, A Jagged Era. The last time at this point, before they dropped a single for this album, we had heard from them, it was from the single I Gotta Be, which is from their debut album, A Jagged Era, of course. Now, the first time I believe the world heard from Jagged Edge, it was from the single The Way You Talk. It had moderate success, but after The Way You Talk, they released Gotta Be, which has 2 videos. Y'all check that out. But we're going to talk more about that album when I actually get it. But we're going to talk about this album. The first single off of this album, technically, is Keys to the Range, which is off the movie In Too Deep. I love that song. I love the beat. First of all, you have to acknowledge the shift that Jagged Edge had from the first album to the second album. This is why I wish I already had their first album physically, so I can talk about that one first. But from their sound and their look, definitely their look, I want to say their sound was still relatively, it made sense because they had the same producer. So even when they switched it up, it still made sense. But at first, it was a lot of hip hop elements and like, you know, like that classic so def sound that every artist was getting at that time. But I felt like he had to craft a specific sound for them because the guys they had their own opinions, they have their own sounds, you know what I mean? 2 of the members in the group does a lot of the writing, I believe it's the twins. We're gonna get into that. But after the first album, the guys actually took that initiative of doing more writing and being more involved in the production, so they're not getting what Jermaine Dupri was just giving the rest of his so deaf artists or anything like that. So Jagged Edge had their own specific sound. Sometimes, you know, the songs sound like it could have been for one of Jermaine Dupri's other artists like Usher, because I heard now that I've heard stories about Usher being mad about certain songs that people got and certain artists. It makes sense, like, yeah, because that sounds like it could have been an Usher song. But we're going to get into that. Check out those Jermaine Dupri, the latest Jermaine Dupri interviews that he's been going around doing. So the first single, Keys to the Range, I really like the beat. It gave Jagged Edge a newer sound from I Gotta Be, and it's a totally different sound from The Way You Talk. So if you listen from the single The Way You Talk, you'll understand what their first album and what they were sounding like the first time around and what they grew into coming into their second album with Keys to the Range. After Keys to the Range being that it's a soundtrack single, I'm sure they wanted to put out a single that was specifically for the album, but they still included Keys to the Range on this album. You have He Can't Love You. That is, that's the first official single off of J.E. Heartbreak. All the members in this group consist of Brian and Brandon Casey, which are the twins. Kyle Norman and Richard Wingo. That's who I was missing. Kyle and Richard, which is Wingo. These are all the guys. They're so fly. I would have to say, first of all, Jagged Edge is comparable to Destiny's Child, the original Destiny's Child. Hear me out. Even though Jagged Edge came out first, and you know they had a buzz and they had their own thing going first. It's just the perfect matchup. You know, you have four of them. You had 4 of the girls, and all of their energies just match. You know, with I feel like Brian and Beyonce's energy are obviously matching the most, which is I wouldn't be surprised if they clashed because they're both they're leads. Like, but all of them can sing lead, first of all, but a lot of the songs you really hear Brian and Brandon taking turns. You just have to pay attention to the videos because they are identical. They look so much alike. You can't even tell who's singing at sometimes because they sound exactly alike. And then in the videos, you have to look at what they're wearing. Like, one might be wearing a hat, one might be wearing a cap. You know what I mean? So you just have to kind of pay attention. And people all thought they were brothers, and all of them were like twins, like these two, but they're not. They grew up in church, first of all, so that explains their vocals and unisons. Lord have mercy, their vocals. Their harmonies, their tones, their layers, their power, the texture of their voices, especially Brian. Like, it sounds like the man is hollering all the time, but it's not. It's just his tone and the textures and the way that he carries his voice, and it just sounds like he's so sincere when he sings. This group is extremely different from, you know, your typical boy band, like I said, New Edition, and then you have like the next biggest boy band, in my opinion, Boyz II Men. They are so different from Boyz II Men. They just have their own swag. They're not like 112, you know, 112 coming out in the year before them, 96 and 97. Jagged Edge having their debut. They're just different. You know, Jagged Edge had, you know, the suits and the bald heads, the long suits when they first came out. Being that was the thing coming out of 96 and then in 97, a lot of the boy bands were doing that. But by this time, these guys were in like fur coats, they were in leather sweatsuits, they were in bandanas, caps, boots, you know what I'm saying? They kind of like gave it their own kind of edge. Tank tops, black tank tops with jeans and boots, you know what I'm saying? It's very different from what they were given on their first album, which I don't have. I'm sorry. I have to get it. I have to get it. I'm gonna get it. Somebody find me a copy, a nice sealed copy with the hype sticker on it. Y'all know my style. The first track coming in on this album, you have Heartbreak. It's an amazing intro where you get to hear all of the boys' harmonies and the growth, their vocal growth coming out of the first album, and just reintroducing themselves to who they are vocally and who they are sonically and who they are as a group, because it's almost like a acapella moment, and it, like I said, it's like a reintroduction. Again, it kind of like, if I had to explain how their albums are telling a story, because it's like the last single that we heard from them is like I Gotta Be, and let's just say the girl gave him a chance because, you know, he was like expressing he got to be the one, so she chooses him. And then, you know, maybe it doesn't work out. And now they're in the second album and they're singing about, you know, I can't take any more heartbreak. You know, they're maturing, they're having experiences, you know, because, you know, they're, you know, the whole boy band thing. But this is a very short intro and it goes straight into Didn't She Say. And did you know Heartbreak was actually a full song? See, I be on point, I be right on time. Brian Michael Cox just shared it on his Instagram. Y'all check that out too, check that out. I really like this song. It's classic Jermaine Dupri production. First of all, Jermaine Dupri's production, I don't think we talk about it enough. Even like we've been seeing him do interviews lately, but I just don't feel like I don't think people kind of get it. It's like, he is one of those producers that is a cultural producer that is the soundtrack to our lives, because he's done so many songs with so many different artists and groups and people. From his voice to the way he raps to his production, it's just like everybody has a memory with hearing, especially if you're from Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is just amazing. I hope he puts that So Def Billboard back up, because their words cannot express how important something that's probably small to another person in this world, it's important to us. But, you know, that's a whole other story. But big ups to Jermaine Dupri. You have the song Didn't She Say. That song is about a girl talking to your girl about, hey, you can't trust him, and, you know, he be up to no good. You know, I be calling him, and, you know, he be trying to take his shots at me, and like, basically, I'm sure if he gave me a chance, I could, you know, do something with him. So don't trust him. So it's one of those songs, and he's telling to his girl, like, didn't she say that, you know, I wasn't no good, and as soon as she get a chance, you see her trying to get with me, though. You know what I mean? And you can kind of hear it in the lyrics to play off of that. So I really like the play off of these lyrics. Like, I would have to listen to their first album to see what the lyrical context was off the first album, but it sounded like they're getting dibbling dabbling and getting more into the seriousness and the dramas and the depths of you know, young relationships, as we all, or some of us, probably are experiencing now. The third song, He Can't Love You, which is the first single. This song is like a expression of, the man really saying, I'm maturing and I'm becoming a young man. Like, I'm a real man. I'm the Prince Charming here. I am Prince Charming. Like, I am the package. And you messing with a dude over there, and like, maybe he clowning, maybe he ain't all the way in, or maybe, you know, he's playing games, and y'all had a relationship before, or, you know, it's just something where y'all are familiar, and you just saying, like, you know, he ain't got what we got. You know, he can't love you like, you know, like I love you, which is what the song is pretty much saying. I really like the production style, and I really like the beat because it's very mature and endearing, and like I said, like Brian's voice, there's so much sincerity in the songs and in his voice. And, you know, there's a lot of different songs on here where it shows their maturity, like the song coming in after that, like What You Trying to Do. It's basically, you know, talking to that girl, like, you know what I mean, letting her know what you can do. Like, if you pay attention to the lyrics, like let you know what you're down to do and what you can do. And if you like, I see you trying to look over this way and come over this way, so what's up, what's popping, what's going on? So it's those kind of things, you know, when you obviously they're can see that and feel that there's some maybe some chemistry there, or some tension, you know, and you just confronting it, we're not really confronting it, but acknowledging it and addressing it, and like saying like, what you want to do about this, you know what I'm saying? Trying to holler, you know, hollering, making your stanzas known, courting, you know. Well, we've all courted before. Some of us are still courting. A lot of these songs, like I said, are written by Brandon Casey and Brian Casey, which are the twins. Brian Cox, Brian Michael. Yeah, I mean, come on, Brian Michael. Everybody know who Brian Cox is. He's written so many songs for so many people. Legendary Brian Michael. I pray I meet him one day, just to be in the room and to see like how people like that work, like the Warren Campbells and, you know, people like that. Also, it's really interesting, the twins' names for their ASCAP, like for their songwriting publishing. It's called Them Damn Twins. I love it. You gotta love it because they're I mean, come on now. Of course they're gonna name their writing publishing company Them Damn Twins. I also noticed that there's a publishing company in here called Noontime Publishing Inc. For ASCAP in the songwriting credits. I wonder if that's the same Noontime that Ashanti was temporarily signed to. And apparently, I guess the company folded, but we all know Ashanti's success story and how that folded out to be. And in the end, they're in Atlanta. It's based in Atlanta. We all know that Ashanti was out there for a minute. I wonder if there's anything to do with each other. But yes, next song on the album is Girl Is Mine. It's another one of my favorite songs off this album. First of all, I love the beat and the title and the what the song is about in the synopsis. I'm sure they're playing off of Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney's But Girl Is Mine, but it doesn't sound anything like that. It doesn't even have remnants of the melody. That's what I love about it. And it's just like, the girl is mine, you know what I mean? It's really talking about obviously the same topic, but in a different kind of way. Like, you know what? Look, homie, that girl that you stressing me about, she came over here and chose me. And you over here trying to get at me. You need to be trying to get at her at why she getting at me. You know what I mean? You know, and it's kind of like the boy is also telling the girl, like, you know what I mean? You playing yourself because you over here with a dude, but you quickly jump to the next dude. So what are you telling all the other dudes that might want you? So, you know, it's kind of like they're talking a little mess on here. You know what I mean? If you get into the lyrics, but it's really more so focused on the guy. Like, hey, if I decide to get with this girl because she decided to come over here, you need to be checking her for her wandering eyes. You know what I mean? Don't even worry about it, you know, because you're over here with me. So I like the song a lot. The song after that is Healing. The song Healing is talking about, to me, it's like a relationship that the guys have had with the woman probably for a while. It sounds like they with an older woman, but it sounds like a relationship that they had with a woman for a while, and they've been through some up and downs, and they had to learn some lessons, whether it's like healing from past relationships or just lessons to learn that they had with that person that they're with. And now they're just having some a moment where it's just them, and maybe they're spending time together or spend the day together, and he's pretty much telling her, like, I know we have done all of that, but I got the healing. I got what you need. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got the loving. I got that. Let me give you the healing. You know what I mean? It's just one of them songs, and it's like one of those, you know, one of them R&B songs where they breaking it down, you know. You can really tell by the production style. Again, Brandon and Brian Casey, Brian Cox, Kevin Hicks. Hey, shout out to Kevin Hicks. I don't know you, but your last name was Hicks, so that means we're related. Shout out to all the Hicks that are famous. Black, white, or indifferent. Especially, you know, the girl that played in Is it a New York Story or a West Side Story to Raw Hicks? I might be saying her name wrong, but I'm gonna look at her name again. But it's that A New York Story, one of those movies that she was in. And then she has another sister. But sorry, that's a whole other thing. But shout out to all the Hicks. Hey, Kevin Hicks. Hey. Look, I see us in the music industry floating around. I see a whole bunch of Hicks floating around, whether they're songwriters, actors and singers, whatever. Love it. But of course you have the twins. You have again Noontime Publishing. And what I love about all of these songs is they don't have any background vocals for any set by any session singers, which is what I love, because we got to give first of all the session singers their shine, the background singers, along with the songwriters, which is a whole nother story too. But yeah, which is they're shouting out some of these session singers I know, or rather I'm familiar with, in their thank yous. Shout out to you, Trina. But yeah, they mentioned some people, and it's just like everybody seems to know each other. But all of the guys do their vocals. Like every background, hook, chorus, ad-libs, it's them. And usually like that guy that's taking the ad-libs, right, like right after the bridge, or right when the bridge is coming in, it's usually Kyle. To me, like no. It sounds like Richard, honestly. In the videos, it looked like it's Richard, but it could be a trade off of the two of them. But yeah, that's why I like looking at their videos and stuff like that. After Healing, the next song is the single Let's Get Married, which has an amazing video, which plays off the video starts off with the album cover, and it goes into them standing by the piano. I just love the video. The song is another sign of maturity for the guys, telling the girl that they basically want to settle down, time is moving forward, and they might as well make the decision to do it, which is kind of crazy. Because I feel like marriage is a business agreement. And it's just like, why make a business agreement just because, hey, we're turning 25 soon. And we might as well do this. We might as well just get it over with. No, it's gonna be a no. As long as the relationship is A-okay, we don't have to talk about it. I feel like marriage comes like when you obviously can separate and comb through all of that, and then everybody's like kind of much older and mature. Like, I don't see nothing wrong with getting married like in your 40s and 50s, and I don't even see nothing wrong with having kids at that time, because it's just like, let's live life. Let's figure this out for real. Let's get the piece of the pie for ourselves first before we make a lifelong decision. Something like that that's why people break up and get married and divorce and all that stuff. And it's just bad because it's like, you didn't need to do all that at that time. But that's a whole nother story. But Let's Get Married, it's a beautiful song for the people that actually do get married, because they are like the people that are especially meant to be together, people that have probably been together since the song came out and they're still together, so shout out to y'all. Love do exist. I'm not trying to be that person like, love doesn't exist, you are getting married, it's not real. I don't even know nothing about that. That's just my opinion, probably because I have some maturing to do. But that's just my opinion right now. But I love that song, and it has an amazing remix with the Run DMC. I would have to say that song was really the first song that kind of like broke them off into like, okay, every time you turn on the radio, that song is playing type thing. Like, that song played on the radio on the hour, every hour. And everyone was playing it at the weddings, at their weddings, parties. They're playing the slow version, and then they're playing that remix at the reception. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm saying? Y'all know y'all done did it. Then did the electric slide and did the Soul Train line and some more stuff. But yeah, I love that track. And I think if it wasn't for Let's Get Married, why did I do that? I feel like if it wasn't for Let's Get Married, they wouldn't have been able to kind of cultivate where the party at. Follow me. Like, because Let's Get Married was almost like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. Because it felt like those two songs, even though they sound different, they were like really two and the same. It's almost like people forget that song it was the album after this one. People be getting the albums confused and the timelines confused. Like, nah, that was a consecutive cycles of hits. That's why they're so close together, and it seems like it's the same song, but it's not. But yeah, that I feel like Let's Get Married kind of ushered that in. Track number 8, you have True Man. I like the concept of the song because it's talking about you can't handle a true man. I really love the concept of the song because it's talking about when you get someone that's honest, whether it's a true man or woman or whatever, it may be hard to handle. That person may not be able to handle that because they come from so much trauma or so many things that's so unfamiliar to them. So when they finally get in that type of relationship, that person is like, I'm being good to you, I'm being truthful and honest, but it's almost like you don't even know how to respond or appreciate something like that. So it's crazy that situations are like that. So I feel like everybody has to practice appreciating one another, but that's easier said than done, I'm sure, for some relationships. But I feel like that's what this song is talking about, like being present and not throwing all your baggage on a person. Yeah. So I like that song. You can handle it, like you can handle a true man. I'm a true man, and you showing me you can't handle it. So what you want me to do? Look, they're tough guys. They're just talking their stuff on here. The track after True Man is Can I Get With You. Again, it's written by the same people, I'm telling y'all. And the publishing that the twins have looks like it's from MCA because it says Them Damn Twins / MCA Music Publishing, a division of Universal Studios Inc. So Universal Studios is probably another derivative of Universal Music. So apparently it's all connected to UMG. That's lovely. It's really a good song, and I really like the beat because this is an album from 1999. This album was released in 1999. I should have said that at the beginning of the video. This album was released in September 1999. So I feel like the sound sonically hadn't completely changed over to the early 2000s sound yet. It was kind of coming in, especially by the end of like 99 after like kind of like around September. But I'm sure this album was recorded before September. But albums that was probably recorded in September of 99 had that sound. So if it was released like in December or November of 99 or like at the top of 2000, it definitely had that early 2000s / 99 sound. If y'all get me, if you know, you know. But Can I Get With You has more of an old school sound, like 98. I don't know, it just has a really old school sound that I like. It's probably the beat and the sample that they use. The sample that they use is Much Too Much, written by Marcus Miller, who's also on MCA Music, it wasn't that hard to get that sample cleared, right? But I really like that song, and the title's heavily implied what the song is about. Just trying to shoot a shot at the girl, but she's kind of like shaking her body her way, your way, shaking heat. The song, it starts off with, I see you shaking your butt, girl, baby, what? What you want to do? I know it's kind of a little much, but baby, I'm just saying, if she like looking at you, and she like, giving you the eye, and she like, what? You want to dance? What's up? You want to talk? What? All that kind of stuff. When anybody does that, kind of have to, again, holla, shoot your shot. Why not? But I really like that song. Again, a classic So Def production, but produced by Gary Gizzo Smith for Mood Swing / So Def production. So Gary is on the So Def team. Gary has done a few tracks, and he's a part of the So Def team, so it wasn't Jermaine Dupri by himself producing these songs. So Gizzo produced True Man, Can I Get With You, and what else? That's all I can see off the top of my head on here. But yeah, that's pretty dope. Track 10 after that is Promise. Promise is the 4th and final single off this album, but Let's Get Married is the 3rd single, which we talked about the track before, True Man, which is track number 7. But Promise, track number 10, is the final single off of this album. The first single, of course, Keys to the Range. The second single, He Can't Love You. But Promise, it's basically being more mature with your girl, you know what I mean? Especially the lifestyle that they were trying to portray in the music video. Like if you're living a street lifestyle and you hustling, you got to do your thing. It's like, just promise me that you're going to kind of be safe, stay out of trouble, or promise me you're going to stop doing this soon and come home. And that's what the song is kind of talking about and giving, and the music video. But it could really go for any theme in a relationship. Like, I promise that I'm going to not spend so much time working on, you know, in the studio. And spending so much time on set. I'm just taking my life as an example. I'm gonna set some time to come home, and then we're gonna eat food and watch movies, you know, that kind of stuff, lovey-dovey stuff, you know. Well, you know, or we're gonna, you know, we could spend the night and watch some Netflix, you know, that kind of thing. You know, when you're just dating a person, and you might be at home with your mama, you know, living at home with moms, or you may be in a college dorm, or you may be having have roommates, you know. I'm like, okay, I promise when I get home, you know, I'm gonna do all those things. You know, that's what that song is pretty much talking about. Promise also has a So Def remix, which samples LL Cool J's I Need Love. I love that remix, and it's almost like the Promise remix is a fever dream, because it's like, did it happen? Did it happen? And then when you go and look for singles and it pop up at the record store or on YouTube, you're like, it existed. It absolutely existed. I remember that remix being played on the radio so much. But that's, again, y'all know I love a good remix. But yes, check that Promise remix out if you didn't know it existed. And if you did, go relive it. Go buy it. I'm telling you, it's not like actually having a single and buying it, because this single has an instrumental on it. So not only do I get to enjoy the single as it was originally presented as a promo only, as the hype sticker says, but it's an instrumental to vibe to. You know, I just love vibing to music, especially like in the wee hours in the morning, like 2, 3 in the morning when it's all dark. You just get up and light an incense and you just play a single, you know what I'm saying? And let that little single run and let all the stuff happen, you know. But that's just me. One day, I just, yeah, let me not get distracted, because like, I just imagine myself as knowing people will do that with my music one day. I know. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for inspiring me, because every artist that if I bought a record of yours, you inspired me, trust me. Song After Promise is the first single off the album. Like we talked about earlier, it's Keys to the Range. That song is just talking about, you know, when you're with someone and they kind of switch up on you for whatever reason or for no reason at all. And it's like, you know, I was about to open up to you. I was about to give it all to you. You was about to have the house, the keys to the range. You was about to get some diamonds and furs, all that kind of stuff. Or maybe it was like I was just about to open up to you more. Or I was about to take our relationship to the next level and introduce you to my family and friends. But you're changing, and I'm just, you know what? I'm cool, because I know we can be friends, and you know, it's something better. I know it's something better out there. You know what I mean? So again, these boys just talking they mess, right? The final track on this album is Lace You, which is the 12th track. You know, basically Lace You is, first of all, you have to acknowledge the beat. I love the kick and the hi-hats, you know, around 99 and like the early 2000s, that's when the hi-hats is getting more patterned and style-wise, like stuff like that. So I really love that about the song. And Jagged is harmonies. The 4 layered harmonies. Like, it could be 5. The 5-part or 4-part harmony. When it comes to R&B groups, it could be a 5-part, really. It's not your basic regular 3-part. It's not. But with these guys, it sounds like it's a choir. Sometimes, like, you know, they came from a choir. But, you know, I just have to give this album a 10. Brian, Brandon, Kyle, and Richard. Jagged Edge, really, I wish that, not that I wish, because Destiny Child made so much history, but they're so much alike. I wonder what it would have been like had they stayed as a quartet. That's what I was like. If they stayed as a quartet, what would have happened with them and Jagged Edge? Not like that, but I'm sure they would have been on a lot of tours together, because they're just the perfect matchup. But yeah, Jagged Edge, I'm going to give this album a 10, of course. I can't wait to review more Jagged Edge albums. The copy that I have has a hype sticker on it, and it was promoting Keys to the Range, He Can't Love You, and Let's Get Married. I'm sure this was before the Let's Get Married remix. and the Promise single and remix period, because it's not even promoting Promise, because I'm sure when they put out the album again around like the second half of like the promotion, they changed the hype sticker to promoting Promise as it became a single. But yeah, it includes #1 singles, Keys to the Rain, She Can't Love You, and Let's Get Married. This album went 2 times platinum. It charted at #1 on the hip hop and R&B chart. It also charted at #8 on the US Billboard 200. It charted at #8. And by the end of 2000, this album was still sitting at #10. That's why I said the dates are important. Keys to the Range, when that single came out, it was released in August. The album came out in September of 99. And by the end of 2000, right, September, and then the beginning of 2000, the end of 2000. By the end of 2000, this bad boy was still #10 on the hip hop and R&B charts. That is a top 10, baby. It's literally #10. It doesn't get no better than that. Gotta give it up to Jagged Edge to selling 2 million smackaroonies of this. I just hope they broke even and was able to pay off the advance. You heard? And have some change left over. But yes, this is an amazing album. An amazing album. A 10, a 10, a 10, a 10. Definitely gonna listen to their first album so I can not really compare, but just kind of see the transition from the first to the second. And y'all already know the album after this is slamming. But one day I will do it. Let me know when you want me to do it, and we'll talk about it. But I will see y'all in the next video. In the next video. Ooh. Ooh. Oh no. I'm just playing, y'all. I'll see y'all. Peace.